Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
It's the podcast of the Frank Skinner Absolute Radio show thing again. I'm here with Emily and Gareth. Gareth's wearing a parka.
He's gone a bit quadrophenia.
Yeah, you're a bit of a mod nowadays.
And I think this is more sort of Oasis-y.
Oh, is it?
I don't know. It's not a parka, I don't think.
Oh.
The parkas have hoods and like a little thing at the back.
Oh, that's the fishtail parka you're thinking of.
They're not edgy anyway anymore. Mum's wear them on the school run.
No, but I still think that's a parka.
Sorry, Gareth.
Yeah. Mums on scooters with 900 mirrors on.
Who pick fights with rockers.
Yeah. This week, you know, we always do these bits. We record them after the show. So I think sometimes we should record them before the show. Do you think? Thanks. Okay, so that was. I seem to have somehow delivered that as if it was a rhetorical question, hence the silence. Perhaps people listening to this answered instinctively, even though the people sitting opposite me just stared. So, we had David Essex as a guest this week. We had, who still looks very good.
He's still got it going on.
And we had Emily's lowdown on her week with the world's strongest men. Was it a week?
Yeah,
I bet
it was
it
a
felt
week.
like a year.
Oh, it wasn't long enough. It was a week in Malta.
Well, don't give it all away,
Okay.
but it's a saucy old tale indeed. And it was a good show, Gareth, don't you think?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see what they think. Here it is.
Absolute Radio.
So this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Gareth. I'm with Emily.
Hello.
Hi, Frank.
I got pig iron. I got all pig iron. And yes, here we are on a Saturday morning. Or some people say...
Saturday morning!
That's one of our jingles, in case you've never heard this show before. And Emily, I have to begin our all-star, or indeed... I can't think of another word to commence. I have to commence by asking you about the fact you went to the Strongest Man. Was it called the World's Strongest Man?
It's called the World's Strongest Man finals.
Where was that held?
It was in Malta. Oh, I feel really sad to be back. Not that I don't like spending time with you guys, and I was so excited to be back on the show and talk to you about it, but...
Do we seem sort of small and deflated, like old birthday balloons?
You really
after
do.
You've been there?
The whole world seems really small and inconsequential compared to the World's Strongest Men.
Oh, my God, someone said inconsequential this early in the morning.
They
Commercial radio. Is that allowed?
Yeah, they became my friends, Frank.
No, they didn't become your friends.
They were my friends. Travis was 25 stone. I helped him pull the plane. Well, I inspired him to do well.
You helped him pull the plane?
Yeah, he pulled the plane.
They have trouble starting. Hold on. So look, when you said that they were your friends and all that, nothing happened, did it? Can we establish that from the top? I don't like the idea of you as some sort of action figure type person.
Oh, I quite like the idea of going out.
Yeah, well, I bet you do.
But no, I thought they'd be real meatheads, but actually they were very sensitive and they were real gentle giants. And one picked me up. It's true, one picked me up.
I bet one picked you up. That does not surprise me.
He held me in the air like a dumbbell.
Yeah.
It was amazing, and I liked it.
What, above his...
Yeah, he suddenly said he was
I wonder if at any point he considered the old wrestling move the slam. Well, they used to call it the slam and whatever it was. You throw them on the canvas and then you throw yourself on top. Giant Haystacks used to do it.
Really?
Remember Giant Haystacks?
I do remember
Giant,
him.
I always called him.
Oh. Well, yeah, they had some interesting names. They did weird jobs. One was a mortician when he wasn't a strong man.
Oh, imagine that. A corpse in each hand above your head going up the stairs.
I bet he just, does some bench presses with the corpses.
Oh, no. That's too many references to corpses already. I'm freaked out.
They eat so much, though, guys.
Oh, don't talk about eating and corpses.
Leave the corpses, will you?
They eat 28 boiled eggs for breakfast.
Well... The thing is with that, when you say they eat 28, what is that about? Does that mean one would say, I'm feeling a bit peaky this morning, I'll just have 27, Doris, no, I can't do the 28.
And not so many soldiers.
Or some days, God, I'm starving. You know what, I'll go 30. You will not go 30. I mean, why is it 28? What kind of a weird regulation?
Don't question the ways of the strong man.
No, but that's a ritual, that's not a diet.
Yeah, it is a ritual. Yeah, but if you want to look like that, Frank, you're going to have to step it up a bit.
You know what? I don't want to look like that. I think they look weird. I think the human head, right? It starts to look mean and insignificant when the body gets too big.
Let me
These
tell
blokes
you.
look like they've got tiny... They're not meatheads, they're pea heads.
There's
That's what
nothing
they are.
insignificant about my strongmen. I love them.
Well, did any one of them at any time tear up a phone book?
No, he didn't tell me.
Well, then they're not strong men
They
in
pulled
my
a
eye.
plane. They did, and they lifted
pulled
Atlas
them.
stones, and they lifted me up.
They lifted Atlas stones.
Yeah, they're called Atlas stones. They weigh about 500 pounds.
What's that in Atlas stones? Thank God we've managed to get out of that with some sort of a comical remark. I don't like the sound of it. I can smell B.O. just from the conversation about the world's strongest men. I imagine they must always smell of B.O.
They are a bit sweaty.
I knew it. I knew it. Well, we'll leave. If you, any of you, when you walk away from this radio show and people say, yes, Emily went to World's Strongest Man, what were they like? Just say, yeah, well, apparently they were a bit sweaty.
Absolute Radio.
That was Catatonia with Mulder and Scully. And, of course, we had Keris on the show. In fact, I'd go so far as to say she is a friend of the show. Yeah, she was on last week. And, Gareth, I think it's fair to say that you fell slightly in love with her.
She's lovely.
I mean, afterwards, you were... Even now, as we speak about it, you've got it looking at me like when a dog wants a biscuit.
I'd like to be friends with her. I'd
Yeah.
like to...
Well,
if
yeah.
you're listening, Keris.
Like I'd like
let's
to be friends with the strongmen.
Yeah.
Do you
like
ever
we
meet...
were.
It's odd that there is some celebrities that you think I'd actually... I don't want your autograph or any sort of physical relationship, but I'd quite like to be your friend. With me, it's Dr. Rowan Williams, the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he lives very near me, and I think it's ridiculous that the Archbishop of Canterbury lives across the road and we're not friends.
Well, we should have him on if he'd come. Or we could just go round for tea.
He's a weird neighbour to
Could we
have,
go for
though.
tea?
What do you mean he's a weird neighbour to have?
Well, it's just a bit odd, him being your neighbour, I think. Would you lend him
someone-
gardening tools?
Someone has to live next door to the Archbishop of
To you?
Canterbury. That's a rule. And indeed me, yeah. So I always think him and Tracy Emin, I would like... not together, because I think they'd squabble. But Tracy Emin is someone I think would be a good friend. I mean, she'd be one of those friends who sometimes turned up on your doorstep at 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe... covered in excrement, screaming, the world is a terrible place. But I don't mind that.
I do that sometimes, too.
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, you've done it, twice? And I think that's fine. I
think Rowan Williams and Tracy Emin would be a good... Because I think she would make a terrible mess and he would very politely tidy up
I don't think
after
he'd tidy up, you see. I don't think
you
he'd even
think?
notice it. That's how ethereal he is.
Oh.
I think he's a man who, if he turned up and he wasn't wearing a sandal, I'd be desperately disappointed, wouldn't you? I mean, the idea of him going out not in sandals. Anyway, I keep saying to my personal assistant, I'm going to draft a letter to Rowan Williams and say,
To your
come over.
personal assistant.
Yes,
Can we
but-
just rewind, please?
Well, I was going to say, I keep thinking of sending him a letter, and I thought that's not strictly true, is it? And I don't want to tell a lie about the Archbishop of Canterbury, because that probably is even worse than telling a normal lie. It's not a cardinal sin, obviously, but it's an archbishop sin. And saying, I live opposite you, come over, and if nothing else, you'll have a great view of your house. But maybe he listens to this. I wouldn't be surprised to find... Actually, I say I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be utterly shocked to find that he listens to
I'd
this.
be quite stunned.
I think he probably listens to just silence.
Yeah.
He's got a radio.
He's quite shipping forecast.
Yeah, maybe he's a bit shipping forecast.
I'd like to
you're
be
right.
friends with Alan Bennett and Foxy Bingo.
That would be a great night out, I
Yeah.
think. So, Foxy Bingo. Yes! That's how I imagine Foxy Bingo. Have you seen any of my talking heads? I'm slightly bored by them. I like more action. Foxy, I know a doctor friend who could help you with that. I don't have a throat problem. Yeah, I think that would be an interesting night. If you had any emails or texts you, if you want to text us, by the way, 8 12 15.
There's a really...
That wasn't a code. That wasn't some sort of weird spy code. That's the number.
There's a really sweet one we've just had saying, "Hi Frank, I want you to be my friend. Love from Joe in Stoke-on-Trent."
Oh, that's lovely. isn't
Joe,
it?
get in touch with his personal assistant and maybe sort
I
something
mean,
out.
I'd be in pottery. I'd be rolling in pottery for the rest of my life if I had a friend in Stoke-on-Trent. I bet she's throwing a small ewer as we speak. A ewer. You know what a ewer is?
Is it URE?
URE. No, that's Ian Ewer, the former Arsenal and Scotland centre-half, you fool. It's gone a bit surreal early on, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I like it when it goes surreal.
There's another good email that's come in. Morning, Frank. How many of the fall gigs have you seen, will you be seeing on the current tour? From Paula in Leeds.
It's funny you should say from Paula.
Yes.
I'm going to answer that question after this as radio. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to answer that question after this.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Have we had any contact on 8 12 15, our text number?
We've had one I love. Remember you were talking about an Ure earlier?
Yeah, it's a sort of a jog type thing.
And I asked if it was spelt U-R-E.
Yes.
And Rob has texted in to say, "Hi Frank, how sublime that you thought of Ian rather than Midge." And
That's I love that. Sublime is great. Yeah, I should have thought Midge is the most obvious Ewer, but Ian Ewer was a big star in his day. But I'm proud of the fact I thought of Ian over Midge.
And hi Frank, how's the new car? What new car?
Oh my God, I've got a
Got
story.
a new car.
Who would know that I got a new car?
It must be some. Have you really got a new car?
I did get a new car this
Why
week.
didn't you tell us?
Yeah, but who sent that in? This will be the person who left an envelope on my back seat saying I know some terrible things about you.
You've done some creepy things.
Yeah, and when I read it, and it said, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you haven't done drugs or anything since September the 24th, 1986. You don't sleep around. You don't even do caffeine. And I'm going to expose how incredibly dull you are unless you give me £2 million. And that'll be that person.
They've now sent a text saying, "We know everything." Who is it? And
Well,
what's going on with the car?
That's a different person as well. There's a
Is that a
we
different
involved.
person?
Yeah, that's a different person who said we know everything.
God. So did he just say that as the new car?
Yeah, so tell us, what's the deal with the car?
Well,
Mr. Big Shot.
What's the deal with the car? Well, it's over several payments. No, I thought I'll get a new car. Is what I did. So I don't want to say. I mean, I don't know what it is. It's made by BMW and it's sort of bluey green. That's what I know about it. I don't know what type it is.
The bluey green's good. I've heard the new bluey green is really good.
But I don't know any of the numbers. I don't understand that with cars. Oh, you got the new S series E743. If anyone says that to me, I think I don't want to talk to you anymore. Not just now, but never again. I always think anyone who knows about cars probably knows a lot about genocide as well. And thinks it's all right.
Frank!
Sorry, that's what I think. I mean, you can imagine how much I love Top Gear. Top Gear, for me,
that your
someone
worst
should step
programme?
into the studio with a backpack flamethrower and just clean it out.
So you
That's
associate...
not the official view of Absolute Radio, by the way.
Do you hate
It might
people?
be, I haven't talked to them for ages.
Do you hate people that say, "What are you driving these days?"
Well, I mean, when I went up from the garage bit in our flats, because there's like a garage bit at the bottom, and then I walked up, and the guy on the front desk said, "Like the new car," and I said, "Well, what do you take me for?" And then just got in the lift.
Did you really say that?
Yeah,
Oh, Frank, that's a bit unreasonable.
I'm not having a conversation about cars, and that's fine.
I discovered that Emily could drive this week. I'd never imagined Emily behind the
That's
wheel
the
of a
most
car.
sexist thing anyone's ever said.
Awful.
Not a sexist thing.
Why can't you imagine
Yes,
me
you can drive.
driving?
Can you change your plug? Can you do that?
It's not a gender thing, it's an Emily thing.
Why?
I imagine she'd have someone to
Yeah, but she doesn't start the car. She just sits in it, and a strong man pulls it on a chain.
Oh, I wish that would happen. I would love
I
it.
wouldn't want that. Because you'd be sitting there, and for the first 3 or 4 miles, you'd think this is great, and then the small patch would start to form on his back, on his leotard. You'd think, oh, I don't want to look at that for the rest of the journey.
They do
What
carry
need
you
is-
around, though.
You need a strong man with windscreen wipers on the small of his back. But I don't know if you can get such a strong man.
But they do carry you around if you ask them. They'll just pick you up
Do
while
they?
they're talking to
Oh,
you.
well, if I see one, I shall say that. You couldn't carry me to Tottenham Court Road. You've got to get some electrical goods. I think they'd be sniffy with me. They carried you around because they're just like the Russell of lingerie.
Absolute Radio.
We've had a text on 8 12 15.
Yes, it says, hey Emily, Fister and Travis send their love. Marios says he misses you.
Oh, those are my strongmen!
Can't
my
believe
God.
it. We've had a message from... Can you imagine them with a big, podgy finger, desperately trying to text. Big,
how-
tiny mobile in the
Massive thumb.
It's,
so
it's like a bunch of bananas trying to text, really.
It is, yeah.
So Fister, Travis, and Marios are all strongmen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Travis is my favourite. He's the one I formed a deep emotional bond with.
And Fister, what's he like?
The Fister, he's brilliant. He's American. He won it. He beat Marius last year. I know quite a lot about it now.
Yes.
He's really good.
Yes.
He sounds lovely.
Yeah,
He is.
I like the sound of him. I think we'll move on from him, but that's lovely to have heard from them, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
How marvellous. And does that mean they all sit together early in the morning?
Oh,
I suppose
I
they're
hope
having
so.
their eggs. Be about egg 15. Let's text. Yeah, do they have them? Are
hi,
they
strongies.
hard-boiled? Could they have them as one big omelette? Would that still count? What enormous, it'd be like a duvet-style omelette.
They have porridge and they have it in like a cake.
Well, you want a
mixing
bit of
bowl.
porridge, because 28 hard-boiled eggs, that's not going to keep... Oh, sorry, I say hard-boiled, I'm putting words in their mouth.
Well, exactly.
As opposed to
They
putting
have to
eggs in
wake
there.
up at 4 a.m. to eat chocolate as well because they can't miss eating time.
Well, so do I.
Oh, okay.
That's normal, isn't it? What, do they have 28 Easter eggs? The big fat pigs. What's going on?
Shut up.
I'm sorry, they're not fat, they're in great shape. I think it's fair to say.
So look,
You
this
could
woman was
grate cheese
asking.
on their abdomens.
This woman was asking about the fall.
Emily did. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was funny you should say how many times you're going to see the fall on this tour, because I went to see the fall on Thursday night.
Like, Thursday just gone.
Yeah, at Windsor, at the Theatre Royal in Windsor, which is a very odd place to sit. In case you don't know and never listened to this show before, like the lady, there's a lady who texted in earlier who we'll talk about in a minute. If you've never heard it before, The Fall is my favourite group in all the world. I say group because the lead singer's quite keen they're called a group instead of a band in his slightly tetchy way. And so I went to see them, and they're not the sort of band you see at the Theatre Royal Windsor. I normally see them in clubs, like slightly grubby clubs would have a space especially marked out on the car park for ambulances.
Is it clubs where I wouldn't use the bathroom?
You wouldn't even use the club. But this was very nice. We sat down and stuff like that, and I met a lot of Fall fans after, and somebody said to me, he said, I listen to you on Virgin Radio every Saturday morning. And I thought, OK, now let's just a minute. If you listen to me on what you think is Virgin Radio, do you not think it odd, all these adverts we did for this other radio station called Absolute? Have you never thought, God, that Absolute, they must be paying a fortune for all that advertising? Anyway, so he was nice, though. He's very nice and liked the fact I played. And one bloke gave me the set list. Because, you know, if you see a band, they have the set list, they tape it to the stage. And this bloke scampered up on stage after and got... There was two, actually, so he got the guitarists and the bass players. And then he gave me one as a reward for playing a Fall track a few weeks back.
Did he?
How lovely is that?
Did it have Spoilt Victorian Child, which is my favourite Fall song?
They didn't do that, no. They rarely do old stuff. Don't get me going into
Okay.
details, but they did do Psychic Dance all this week, but you won't be interested in that. But there are Fall fans, and I'm going again to Coco in Camden, in North London, on the 17th of November, and I think we should go as a works outing, because I think if you guys, you need to see the Fall. You'd see how marvellous it is.
Okay.
You don't have to go to the toilet. Really go a lot. Have a real strainer just before we step in, and you won't need to go. Actually, I think Coco's quite nice, isn't it?
Oh, I'm going to go. I quite like it. I think I'd get on with Marky Smith. We're very similar.
You don't
kind of
get to
people.
meet them. It's not the sort of
Why
place you
not?
go back
Is there
afterwards.
no after show?
Oh God, they're not the strong men. No, I'd be too scared to go back. I'd probably get glassed.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
By the way, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily and Gareth, and also after the 9 o'clock news, guess who's coming in? I'll tell you, David Essex.
I'm so excited.
David Essex. What about that?
I used to
Brilliant.
live in Essex.
Did you? I used to live with a bloke called David. David Baddiel I used to live with. So that
And
is really weird.
I used to have a bit of a crush on David Essex.
Well, then we've all covered the David
And
Essex.
I still have.
Have you really?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, you don't. You haven't seen him yet, have you?
Oh, I'm so excited.
He might have been in some terrible fire and come in
I'll
just
still,
look like
I
a
don't
pork
care.
scratching.
I'll still love him. I'll nurse him back to health.
Well, I'm looking forward to watching that. That's great. Anyway, he's coming in. And I think it's about time we had an Ethan update. Just a second.
Sorry.
Is that foxes outside? So it's like in the middle of the night, you hear a baby crying in the street. That'll be foxes.
That's so loud. Do you have to deal with that every day, that noise?
Yeah, he's got louder than that now.
Oh, God.
He's louder than that.
Yeah, his lungs have developed.
Have you bought him a small PA system as a christening present? That was a mistake in my eye. So
In your eye.
in my eye, yeah.
It's just one of them.
Just one of them. The other one, do you know I can't see in one eye? But thanks for laughing at that. Anyway, tell us about Ethan.
He's good.
Garrett's a bit worried now in case I can't see with one eye. I can tell. He's worried. I can sense a knotting in his stomach.
I wondered why you sort of mostly ignore me.
Yeah.
During
Well,
the
that's
show,
because you sit on the
can
left.
only see Emily.
Yeah. It could be anybody out there. So anyway, Ethan.
He's yeah.
How old is he now?
He's nearly 4 months.
Was that all? He's been around for ages.
When is that all?
He's about
People never
7.
say that about babies. How old is he? 4 months. Oh, is that all? Rubbish.
I was in the co-op with him. I went to the co-op with him this week, and our co-op is full of lunatics. The people who work behind the counters are really weird. This guy goes, "Oh, all right, boss. How old is he?" And I said 4 months. He goes, "Oh, yeah, good age. He should enjoy life while he's that age.
Did he say that?
Before your head goes."
He never said that.
He said that.
Before your head goes.
Yeah, I don't know what he meant.
His must have gone about 7 months or
Was
something.
he decapitated, Matt?
Come to mention it.
Yeah, well, of course, obviously, he's going to be a bit nostalgic about having a head. Who wouldn't be in his situation?
He's a bit funny about getting to sleep at the moment, Ethan. He gets too tired and then gets really grouchy and then is too tired to get to sleep because he starts crying.
How do you know that, though? How do you know he's too tired?
Well, because...
He could be defiantly not going to sleep.
Exactly.
He could be worrying about being decapitated. He could be worrying about work
He could
very prematurely. People say that about... It's like when people say, you can smell our dog on you. About dogs. And you think, how do you know that?
He could be going out having adventures like an urban fox and sneaking back in.
You're fox obsessed, that's your
I know,
fault.
I am.
So how do you get him off to sleep then?
It's one thing we've...
Do you rock him?
That
do
works.
you do the rocking thing?
Rocking, he doesn't fall for rocking.
Really?
No, yeah, you can put him in the pram and just sort of push him back and forwards.
No, that's motion sickness you're after. Okay.
Or
So what-
the hairdryer or the Hoover works.
Oh.
Like, Laura's noticed that if she's hoovered, it'll distract him and he'll go off to sleep. So now, when he doesn't sleep, this week we will, Laura put the Hoover on just to make him go to sleep.
She didn't put
Right.
the suction too near to him, though.
No, she doesn't
he wouldn't
put
get
it
much
too
sleep
near
in
to
our
his-
flat. I'll tell you that, if he had his sleeves through the hoovers on.
Yeah. Well, that might be why it is. It's because our place is an absolute pigsty, and he's
Well-
like, I'm not going to sleep until you tidy up this.
So, but that's a good thing, though. So that means if you get up in the night and you can't sleep, you have to hoover.
Yeah.
It's a funny old life, isn't it? when you
That's the
think
same as Wayne Rooney. He needs the Hoover and the vacuum cleaner to sleep.
about it. I thought you meant he was dusty then when you said that. He needs a good hoover. He's got all those. He's got a lot of lint on him, I find. Covered in lint.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
This is Marquis Smith laughing.
is
Brilliant. It's
horrible.
great. I love it. He'd be a great pirate, wouldn't he? He's the lead singer of The Fall, in case you don't know, and The Fall are the best band in the world.
Hey, we had a really sweet text which I'd like to read out. Morning, Frank. I've never listened to your show before, but then I'm never up this early on a Saturday. But I'm now taking IVF injections every morning at 7 a.m. So I've discovered...
Who was that from?
She hasn't left her name.
No, people are a bit... Well, that's lovely, though.
I know.
I didn't know you had to have injections with IVF.
Oh, God, yes.
Do you? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, good luck with that, anyway. And they didn't leave a name. We're going to call you IVF.
Yeah.
Like Malcolm X. IVF's on the line, yeah. So good, keep us in touch if it works.
Good luck, Ivy.
Yeah, exactly. F-O. But that was not... Okay. So, I had a weird thing. When I got a car last week from the studio. Often I walk, I just want to make that clear. But I got a car because I was driving to West Brom to see us lose to Crystal
Did
Palace.
your personal assistant organise it?
Oh, shut your face. Anyway, so I'm in the car, and this, I don't know, I think he was East European, the driver. I hadn't met him before, and I always sit in the front, like, man of the people. And also, I think if they suddenly have a seizure, I can seize the wheel, you know. But anyway, we was going along, and a bloke started. We stopped at lights, and a bloke knocked on the window, and the driver looked a bit scared. And I said, "Open the window," and he said, "No." And I said, "Open the window." And this bloke went, "Oh, Frank, how you doing? All right," and all that. So we drove on. I mean, we drove on like 50 yards or less, and the driver said, "You know him?" And I said, "Well,"
He sounds like a strong man.
I didn't want to say I'm famous, because that's the worst thing anybody could ever say. And I said, and I'm not kidding to you. At that very second, an enormous, well, actually a normal-sized double-decker bus pulled in front of us with a big advert with me on the back of the bus.
Oh, brilliant.
And I said, that's me. It was only life could always be like that. It was absolutely brilliant. So I'd like to thank that bus driver. I don't think I've ever done that before. I'd like to thank that bus driver in the style of old age pensioners, OK? Thank you, driver.
Absolute
Radio.
Dave in Essex is in the studio. Can you believe that?
He's already like one of the family.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Just moved in. Refused a croissant, but gone for the cup of tea. Frank.
Yeah, that's a very David Essex thing to do. I imagine you're more of a bacon sandwich man, is that
I
fair?
like a bacon sandwich.
Yeah.
A little bit early for me. I'd probably move towards the brunch area for the bacon sandwich. I think.
You see, I imagine you, and you know, whenever you think of celebrities, you imagine them in certain contexts. I imagine you up quite early in the morning, walking at the side of maybe I imagine you probably have a trout farm in the country. Is that?
I
is that
don't.
fair?
No,
You don't?
that's Roger Daltrey.
No, but you know, it's on I imagine you in the country for some reason. Why would that be? You don't live in the country?
No. I live right in the centre of London. I wouldn't live in the country. I don't think. I like the countryside, but you see a few trees and a couple of cows, and that's about it.
I
really.
agree. I agree with that.
You know, but I mean, it is a beautiful country, Britain. Don't get me wrong.
That's all right. Don't worry. I don't think our listeners are that touchy. David Essex slagging off England. I'm not having it.
The Countryside Alliance will be on the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I come from West Ham, as you know.
Yeah.
And so I was born right in the city. It was fascinating when the area I was born, because it was like 1948, and of course that was post-war, just after the war. So
Can you just leave a pause where I did the mathematics on that one?
Okay. It's
1948.
61-ish.
61, who'd have believed that? Carry on, David.
Yeah. So there were half houses, you know, where they'd been bombed, and then you had, because it was close to the docks, you had all these different nationalities coming off the boats, and Chinamen walking down the street, and you know, it was fascinating. I always
sit there if I see a Chinaman walking down the
it's
street.
fascinating.
If you went to Chinatown, you'd have a seizure.
Probably would. I'd get very excited.
You would.
Yeah, but you know, different nationalities all coming off the boats, and so I was born in the city, and I kind of I feel comfortable in the city, really.
So I think that's good, though, because I think it's very tempting. People become successful, they buy a big house in the country, and that's it. I'm glad you're still in there.
Yeah.
Good. You're on tour at the moment.
Well, we start. What is it? October the 12th. I think that's like Monday week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Norwich. It's called the Secret Tour, and it's 28.
Do you want us not to plug it then?
Shh. No, we'll talk about it. It's 28 dates, and I'm looking forward to it, because the last thing was a theatrical thing, a very, very successful tour of All the Fun of the Fair.
Right.
Which was a dark and edgy play with music, if you like, based around some of the songs I've written over the years, right from the early 70s right the way through to today. And that really did well. That's scheduled for the West End, I think, the spring of next year. So to go out and do the concerts is nice, because it's a freer medium.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of lives for that night, and then you move on. So looking forward to that. That's 28 dates, and then this other thing is in June next year, which I've got to negotiate getting out of All the Fun of the Fair to do.
Right.
So that's going to.
Have you told them yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
They know now, though.
That's going to be a blow when you don't turn up one night.
Well, I mean,
Phil Daniels said, "No, he told me it'd be all right." That'd be terrible.
No, what'll happen is they just say, you know, that I'm not on that night, and would they like another night, or are they okay to come and see whoever's doing it?
Okay. Well, maybe I should get in there.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio, and David Essex is in the studio. And we've spoken about the fact that your tour starts on Monday week.
It does.
And that goes on, I think it ends up in Bournemouth, is that right?
Yeah, the last night, end of November.
Which is where Gareth lives. So there you go.
It is, yeah.
Take the wife out, get a babysitter. Be fabulous. And now you've got another tour coming up next year, which is a bit more unusual. You mentioned it briefly before, but this is not just you.
No, it's the, I think, third time I've done this. And initially I didn't want to do it because I'm not big on nostalgia. But that was with David Cassidy, the Osmonds, myself, and the Bay City Rollers. And I thought, I don't know about that. But I'm glad I did it, because it was like a celebration for a generation. It was really quite moving, the reaction. We play arenas, so it's a big old audience. But it was just really, it was kind of special, because you had all these people of an age, I suppose, from 40 to 60, that were relating to their influences. I mean, for me, my influences musically, the strongest period that influenced me was obviously the 60s. So anything from the 60s, I love to hear. Well, these people were kind of relating to stuff from the 70s. So I'm going to do it again. And
did you know these guys in the 70s?
No,
Were you friends with the
never met
Osmonds?
them. No, never.
Oh, really?
No, never met any
See,
of
I
them.
kind of imagine with you lot doing Top of the Pops and that, you'd have all known each other.
No, never met anybody that was on that tour.
Right. So this time it's a slightly different, because Leo Sayer's doing it this time. You must have met Leo
No,
Sayer.
I've met him.
Really?
Either. No. I'm a recluse.
Were you a bit aloof in those days, Dave?
No, aloof. No. I just, I don't do the parties. I don't court sort of media attention or any of that.
But you didn't even do that in the 70s?
No, never. No.
Wow.
No.
God, the temptations. Because I've got a mate, Dennis Leary, who's an American comic. I don't know if you know him, an actor. And I remember talking, and your name cropped up once, and he talked about, he said Rock On absolutely was so massive in America.
Still is. It's like a legend over there. It's amazing. And it influenced, the lead singer of R.E.M., that's the reason he went into music.
Is that right?
Yeah, all these things. I mean, it's been number 1 3 times there.
That's amazing.
I know, it's incredible. But that was an interesting record to make, because I was doing That'll Be the Day at the time. So we were basically doing a film in the 70s, middle 70s, that was about what it was like to grow up as a working class boy in the 50s.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd write a lyric that reflected all the Americana influences, like James Dean, Summertime Blues, all those things, for the film. And we went in and recorded it, and I gave it to David Putnam, who was the producer, and he said, "Oh no, it's too weird. We can't put it in the film." And then there was a run-in with Columbia Records, because we'd done I'd written 2 tracks, Rock On, and another one that was more kind of usual, and they wanted the other one as the A-side. I said, "No,
of course they did.
Yeah, no, let's go with this one." And it sold, 23 million worldwide. And they never troubled us again, which was great, so we could experiment in the studio, banging fire extinguishers and in lamplight, dropping a gong into like a bath of water for the end of Stardust, Ray Cooper. Wow, fantastic.
Oh, that's what happens at the end. I know, I remember singing Rock On in the street, walking down Langley High Street, a bit drunk.
That must have been a sight.
Yeah, singing, Rock On, and doing the voice, doing the voice. And that's like the cheeky smile. I tried the cheeky smile, it didn't come out quite as good.
It's working now.
Is it
working for me?
It took me that long, it's still working for you. Well done. So look, so let me get this right. Your tour starts a week Monday, you've got an EP out at the moment. Is that out, yeah?
Yeah, it's on the David Essex website, be at the concerts as well, where most of my recent albums are, the www.davidessex.com, and I enjoy doing this because it's unplugged, which is something I've never done before. The next album I might record similarly. I might kind of, write new songs. Like
you're going to strip it all down now?
Yeah, it seems to work. I mean, it is a test of a song if you do that.
And your voice as well, of course.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah?
No, it sounds pretty
Sorry, I didn't want to worry you about that.
Yeah, I'm very worried. Tour starts Monday.
And then next year you'll be touring with Leo Sayer, the Osmonds and the Bay City Rollers.
which I'm looking forward to, and then...
And you've got Oh What a Circus coming to the West End.
No, All the Fun of the Fair.
All the Fun of the Fair, of course. Sorry about that. I knew there was some sort of entertainment thing in it. Well, so you obviously keep yourself busy. I hope someone's looking after the trout farm while all this is going on.
Well, it's better than a real job, Frank.
Exactly. Well, it's great to have you on. We love you. Ladies and gentlemen, the marvellous David Essex. Thanks a lot, David.
Thank you.
Absolute
Radio.
I've become slightly fluid. I'm no longer...
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
You're slightly leaking out of your trousers.
I have never been... I have never been so insulted. Can I just make that point? The only thing that can possibly cheer me up is... Hey!
David Essex was a bit of a silver fox, I thought.
Yes. What, you surprised he's got grey hair?
No, but in a good way.
Yes.
I like that in a man.
Oh, no, he's
still
one
got
of those.
it.
But you kind of know with a bloke like that, he was never
Yeah.
going to... If they've got the eyes, I think you stay good looking forever if you've got the eyes.
Yeah.
Although I thought that about Bridget Bardot, and, she looks like a... Well, she looks like a steak and kidney
Be
pie
very
with
careful what you're going to say here.
That's what she looks like, a steak and kidney pie with eyes, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
Oh, what, you mean it in a nice way?
Yeah, obviously with
Tasty.
her, actually, it would have to be a vegetarian pie. Let's say some sort of butternut squash
I think
pie.
she looks great. I think
You think she looks great?
I
You do not. We were having this debate, actually, in the week. I met up with Emily and Gareth, because we do hang out. You might think we just are colleagues.
And what happens is Frank's personal assistant calls us and says, do you want to meet?
I can't believe you were having a go at me for being starry, hanging out with the world's strongest men. And when I say strongest, I'm talking BO, if you know what I'm saying. Yes.
So
yes.
jealous.
Yes, I bet something went on. You know what? If you know what I'm saying, Gareth, don't
Yes.
you? She has a bruised wrist, and that worries me a lot.
That's from when Louis Philippe picked me up.
Yeah, exactly. What did he swing you around by your arm or something? What was he trying to clear a flying ants invasion?
He picked me up like a dumbbell.
He doesn't know his own strength. Do they
Exactly.
have
No, he does know his own strength, actually. I think they are people who definitely know their own strength.
Yeah, he
they've
does.
got all the figures. So what I spent my I've done some odd stuff this week.
Oh, yeah.
I had a slightly difficult situation. I've been seeing a physiotherapist.
Why?
My shoulder's been hurting. So she said my posture's not very good, and I went in this week, and she'd been looking me up on YouTube to see if when I was on stage I hunched, if that was what was... She had this theory that me talking to the audience was hunching me over, so I was leaning. It's an interesting stand-up comedian repetitive strain injury theory. But I didn't know she was going to do this. And she's a very, respect... I mean, recently she went away camping with the local church. So her looking me up on YouTube... People who only hear me on this show will be astonished to hear that I can be something of a potty-mouthed comedian. You'll be astonished to hear that, because on here I'm very family-friendly. But she had looked it up, and she said, I looked at your stuff on YouTube, and I felt deeply ashamed. And there was an awkward... The whole...
Oh, did you? Because you'd see your blue material.
Yeah, exactly.
Did she no longer think it was about hunching, but just about your moral decay?
Yeah, she thought I was like the golem. That's what had done my posturing. I was like a sinister imp, is what she thought. He used to drive a sinister imp in the 70s, but that's enough about
Now he's got a
cars.
bluey-green BMW.
Yeah, don't start on the cars thing, I'm telling you. So this week I did a voiceover. I had to read Ozzy Osbourne's audiobook.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, because Ozzy Osbourne, well, I presume he can read, but he didn't want to. He wrote it, ish, right? And I had to read it out.
Did you do accents when you did it?
Well, the bloke said to me, there was, he says that I didn't do it as Ozzy. I wasn't. I couldn't do that for 3 hours.
You couldn't sustain it.
No, I barely managed
not
that for a
strong,
second
man.
and a half. But I had to do some... Yeah, there's bits of him talking to American characters, and the guy said, can you do an American accent, which I can't, really.
Oh, do your American accent.
So I had to say
Go
stuff
on.
like, the thing is, Ozzy, if you eat that bat, there's going to be trouble. Stuff like that. And as I was saying it, I could feel myself squirming even more, which, again, I think has damaged my posture.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, what a show!
That's what I think. Now, Well, did you say there's a big fuss? We're moving to the end of the show, but I'm bringing up a new topic as if we're just starting. That's the
Does
kind
that mean
of
I can't
crazy...
talk about strongmen anymore?
Have you got anything else to say about strongmen?
I'm going to talk about them all the time.
No, I know you are, but you don't have to do it on air.
Okay.
Give people a break, for goodness sake, with their horrible, sinuous arms like Madonna.
Hey, I made up a name for their wives and girlfriends. Swags. Strongman wives and girlfriends. Isn't that good?
Swags.
Yeah. Swag bags, you could call them.
Aw.
Strongman, it would be swags. Because strongman is 2 words, or is it a 1 word?
It's just one word.
See, I said we shouldn't talk about it. I wanted to talk about John Lewis's window in London, which...
Tell us about it.
Well, they got their Christmas window now. All their Christmas
Already?
window display. I like that, you see. I do not understand the people who say, "Oh, I can't believe they're selling Christmas cards in October and all that kind of stuff." Have you ever sat at a Christmas lunch table with all the family and crackers, and you got paper hats on? There's chestnuts warming on the fire, a bit of turkey and all that. You're sitting talking about the old days, drinking sherry, and one of you says, "I'm sorry, I can't enjoy this because they had Christmas cards in the shops in October." Nobody's ever said that. They always say, "Oh, it ruins Christmas." It doesn't make any difference to Christmas whatsoever. So shut up about it.
I've got a picture of one of the windows here, though, and they've got...
That'll be great on radio.
They've got an
You want to describe
I'm
it?
going to describe what it says on
Don't
the
scream.
thing.
I had a big think up then they said too loud. You've broken Absolute Radio.
One of those Christmas trees in the window, in this picture that I am seeing, that I am describing
Yes.
to you,
Yeah.
is upside down.
Yes.
An upside-down Christmas tree, isn't that Satanism?
I think it's
Like an
Santaism.
upside-down...
Santa, of course, is an anagram of Satan, as many have pointed out. Yeah. I think that's... they have a lot of Australian shoppers. I'm sorry, that's the best thing I could come up with. It was thrown to me, you know, I took the ball and I ran with it. I ran into a post, is
So-
what happened. Is the show ending with a slight damp squib of a whimper this
Well, because
week?
you've brought up Christmas, haven't you? And it's so early.
I was thinking, well, next week could be our Christmas special, just to really wind people up. Bells are ringing, etc.
I'm going to wear a Santa suit. Yay!
I bet you have worn one of those shorty Santa suits in the past, haven't you? Probably when you were with the strong men who probably don't know what day it is, I imagine, from their terrible exertions day in and day out, pulling planes. I mean, who pulls a plane, for goodness sake? How annoying. Does he have to respond to the man doing semaphore on the runway? You have to do it for the stupid big strong man.
I like to imagine them pulling the plane so fast they can fly it like a kite.
You know what? I just like to imagine them.
Oh, me too.
No, I find them a bit creepy, if I'm going to be brutally honest. Good day to you.
Absolute
Radio.